and gentlemen, it is showtime! We're here, the Vanguard Koshien, the tournament arc to end all tournament arcs, the thing we've been waiting for our entire lives, because this is a tournament we get to watch that will not be dominated by frickin' Bermudas. That's right, guys, we are here, the Vanguard Koshien has begun, and we also introduced our Messiahs, because remember, that product is coming out, so Bushiroad's got to remind you it's coming, and yeah, this was kind of a fun, more sort of lighthearted, kind of getting a lot of stuff up to speed-based episode that wasn't super serious, but I did like what we got. First up, we'll cover the Koshien stuff, because that is much more simplistic, and when I say simplistic, it just took up less screen time. We get to the Koshien, we skip the first few rounds. I was sort of hoping we could have used the first few rounds of the Koshien to show off some stuff that kind of gets lost in the kind of everyone's got their one deck and this is what we see all the time. Like, obviously, I want some love for Matachi Kaze. We got some love for Tachikaze for half a second as they were being defeated by Kai. But in all due reality, I do think for the sort of way this show is paced, to get through a few rounds where we kind of know what's going to happen, I think ultimately serves a good purpose. Because obviously we've sort of gone at this very fast pace, a lot faster than most shonen or card game anime would go at. So to sort of choose now to slow down and focus on unimportant matches probably wouldn't be good from a story perspective. Just as a competitive player, I would have kind of liked to have seen some other decks get their time in the shine, but you take what you can get. As for stuff that I did like that was actually in this sort of Koshien battle, first and foremost, we obviously had Leon come back. I kind of like he just comes to say hi. Nothing, no ulterior motives, nothing. The one thing I want to point out, though, is he's brought in by a gust of wind hitting Aichi. Now, there's two ways to look at this scene. The first is that is simply just Leon's calling card, as him and Aichi, because they are both Psyqualia users, are sort of connected through fate. Or two, and this is what I want to believe, I choose to believe that Leon carries a little fan with him. Like, all this wind stuff is bullshit, and Leon, just like when people aren't looking, turns the fan on and makes them think it's the wind. I know what you're doing, you little attention-loving brat. You can't fool me. Speaking of attention-loving people, the bit with the eye guy, the crazy dude, that made me laugh. I find him funny. Since we're a little short on in-depth content this week, I will quickly address this. There's one guy, he's brought it up in the comments a few times, that he doesn't like this guy and he doesn't find him funny. And I can actually completely understand that. The concept of just like an annoying Chunibya type character is a little overused at this point, and he doesn't really add that much new to the character concept, besides if you just find it funny. On top of that, the fact that he's very rarely ever acknowledged by the other characters, and his crazy predictions that, even though they're true, don't get acknowledged by anything, sort of gives off that impression that the show doesn't care about him, and if the show doesn't care, why should the audience? So I do totally understand not finding him funny. Also, if you just find those sort of jokes like crazy, over-the-top, attention-wanting, crazy, nonsensical predictions, if you just find that overused, which it kind of is, yeah, I could completely understand not finding him funny. For me, it's just kind of the fact that where everything is so played straight in this anime, even when there are jokes, that I don't know, just kind of a character who's just that over the top and goofy kind of feels a little refreshing. It's kind of a weird feeling, I can't explain it, but he works for me, but I get why he wouldn't really work for everybody. Then moving on, we get to the actual sort of tournament stuff. We get some fun banter with Ultra Rare, banter that kind of sounds like the banter three people being paid to sound like they have chemistry would make. I don't know if anyone picked up on it, but at least I did. One thing I just want to point out, I like that it looks like the Koshien is being held in a soccer stadium that's just been converted to a Vanguard Dome. I like this in the original series too with the tournament arcs. Just kind of this idea that Vanguard is an aspect of the world world and not the controlling factor. It makes the world feel a little more realistic without having to really like spoon feed you anything. Just a nice detail you just pick up while watching. Then we get the fights and stuff. Oh, and obviously the big thing here is Korin noticing Aichi. Apparently she's got amazing eyesight because she can pick up on someone who barely looks like he's over 5 feet tall. Just picks up on him. And I like that it's not the same thing we've been seeing. And I like the way they've handled everyone sort of having their memories more or less being a little bit reactivated one step at a time. But I do think it's sort of good that they just make it, she just kind of has this nice, happy feeling. Like, it's not big over the top, she doesn't get a headache, she doesn't pass out, which is what I thought they would do. But this allows for no real breaking in the pacing, and also it means that you can kind of do it longer. There's no sort of spending a lot of time right now on, oh, what's going on? Why'd she pass out? Is there a connection between us? I don't know. You can sort of take that little time to maybe make it be built up over a few episodes, because remember, Korin's first instinct when she sees them walk away is, I want to do it too. It's a happy feeling. It's not the sort of angry or headache or mysterious, so therefore a little creepy just by the nature of what the scene is that we got out of the other sort of people getting their memories back. It's this idea that being around them makes her happy, and it makes her feel like she's more than just a tool. And so therefore, it should be shown off that getting to remember that, even if just for a fraction of a second, makes her happy. It's a very nice little scene, and I quite liked it. Then we move on to the other half of the episode, which is the introduction of Messiahs, because it's Bushiroad, and it's time to remind you, Messiahs are coming out. And this fight with Asuka, I liked it. It was fun. It was a nice showing off of both decks. Messiahs, I forget if they're doing a lot. I just sort of find it funny. They just kind of took their gimmicks from G format and just kind of condensed it into one card with the Harmonix Messiah. But no, it was fun. It was a good fight. I like Tetsu's I like this idea that what gets Tetsu more interested in the game again and fired up to be involved in Vanguard is not the same as with the others. It wasn't a strong fight. It was wanting to help people get back what they've lost. Remember, Tetsu's whole sort of thing throughout all the Vanguard shows is his desire to want to help Ren and kind of be this sort of big brother mentor figure to him. So it stands to reason that because that is his big thing, when it's time to do that to try and help everyone else, that's what gets him fired up. That's his unique personality, and that's what gets him going. So that's sort of nice. I also kind of think it's fun that for everyone else who does not have a deep, complex character, and therefore we can assume does not have the same sort of deep, complex relationship with Vanguard as everyone else, by doing it this way, you just sort of make it that all it just took for them to get their love for Vanguard back is just getting fired up and wanting to beat the asshole that put him in this mess in the first place. So that is a nice little bit. I also love the bit where Ren's about to say, well, you know how we settle this with a card fight, but he's like, you know the drill. Little meta stuff like that, I think goes a long way in this sort of show. So yeah, this was definitely more of a fun, not really super deep episode, but it was interesting. I also kind of like Asuka's reaction to losing. She's not just sort of like, well, okay, willy-nilly, you can be on the team, it's fine, happy, here we go, we're friends now. No, she doesn't like the guy. She has no reason to like the guy, and it does piss her off, but she kind of goes along with it because it's best for the team, it's best for everyone's Vanguard ability, and it's just best for, Ibuki and all that good stuff. It's just kind of this, it sucks, but sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. A nice episode that I think relies a little bit more on the quirkiness of everything and has some fun little subtle things that you, the audience member, have to pick on that is not just spoon-fed to you, which is so much more of a problem in anime than anyone ever wants to acknowledge. Trust me, you could do a video on that. Maybe. Anyways, so yeah, tell me your thoughts on this episode below. And as for the Vanguard question of the week, a couple days ago we got our first sort of glimpses at what is coming out for the next AL4 set, and we saw the return of a certain Pale Moon waifu. Lukier herself will be making her triumphant return to Vanguard. So my question to you, the Pale Moon loving public, are you happy to see Lukier make her return, or would you maybe like to see us kind of move away for her because I feel like she's gotten a lot of spotlight in the past. Didn't she have like a whole retrain in G era? And she obviously stayed very relevant for a while when she first came out. So would you kind of maybe like to see something else get focused on? Or do you think it's time to bring the girl back? Tell me that below. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and join me next week for, all I can think of is please give my Tachis an episode. That's all I want in life.